unmute this stuff here and make sure this screen is showing, and it looks like it is. Boom. Wait. Let's do this. There. All right, and there is no password in this lobby, so if anybody wants to join, and I don't have chat on in game, but we can see your chat in Twitch, and then Morten can see your chat in game. So just a heads up. So yeah, today's guest is Morten, one of the developers of THUGPro. If I'm not mistaken, probably the main developer, but we'll find that out. And then next week on Friday night is going to be Give Me Ice, and we're just going to kind of wing the time. It's going to be probably the usual, like 6 at night. Today we're going a little earlier because of Morten's time zone. It's different. So yeah, we'll just get right into it with some general questions, but I just want to say thanks for doing this. I know you're pretty busy, so.
Yeah, no problem. So.
Cool. I sent you the general questions, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to pull them up. Yes. I used to handwrite all these, and then I said, fuck that, after doing it like 10 times. So now I just pull it up on text. So cool. Let's just start with this one then. When did you start playing, and which game?
It has to be in like 2001, I think, because the first game I played was Pro Skater 2, and it was the PC demo, so not on console. We used to have all these like computer magazines lying around at home, and they had these demo discs, and I think just one day I found this disc that had the Pro Skater 2 demo on it, and I thought that was pretty cool because seeing people in school, they were skating, and I was like, wow, cool. And I guess I just played that demo for forever, really, because I didn't really play the original Pro Skater until later, actually. So after playing that demo for like a year, I got the PC version of Pro Skater 3, and also playing that on PC. So
So have you been PC the whole time?
Yeah, or it's a bit of both, really, because after 3, I got I think for Christmas I got the new Xbox, and I got also Pro Skater 4. So then I sort of switched over to playing on console for a while, and it seemed like the ports for Pro Skater 4 and Underground 1 was sort of, I guess you could say, hidden, or people didn't really know about them. So I sort of just forgot about the PC for a while. So I was playing Pro Skater 4 and Underground 1 to an American Wasteland on consoles.
And you said Xbox for those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the original one.
Got it. Did you ever do PS2?
No, I never owned the Sony console.
Well, and when you were on Xbox, were the games pretty popular on Xbox Live?
So that's the thing. The Xbox games didn't have the online component until, I think, American Wasteland.
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't know for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really play online on consoles, but I played Pro Skater 3 online a lot on PC. So that's sort of the main.
When's the last time you played that online?
Oh, that's a long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah. Yeah, because I was asking, I was just asking, shit, I don't remember who I was asking, but I asked them too, and they were like, we haven't played it in forever, but they had heard that there's still occasionally people that sign on, and like those servers are still going, like without a workaround. Like, can't you just connect right to them still? I think you can. I could be wrong.
No, I think you can sort of, if you have a modified exe file, you can probably play with OpenSpy. But I don't know if you can play with the original game. That's actually don't know. But I also heard that there are still people playing it, so
yeah,
need to organize it, I guess.
It'd be pretty cool to get a full lobby on Tony Hawk 3, yo, on PC.
Yeah.
The vanilla, not the modded either. Just go straight up vanilla.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up with that, so it's...
And
yeah.
when you were doing all the PC stuff, was it with broadband or dial-up?
Well,
when you started?
Yeah, it must have been dial-up at some point and then broadband later. I can't really remember, but...
Yeah, and it's not really too applicable when it comes to PC as much as it is for console, but just curious if you had to put up a dial-up. So, cool. Throughout the years, what is your favorite THPS game and why? Probably excluding, obviously, THUGPro.
Yeah, well, it sort of depends on how you look at it. I think like the game I have most memories of is probably Pro Skater 4. Play that a lot. And I don't know, it's just something with it I really like. But if you want to like select the game for the gameplay or other things, then maybe Underground 1, maybe. I'm not sure. It really depends on what kind of things you're looking for. So it's difficult to...
Like, how about for like online and offline play? Do you have a favorite for offline?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, probably 4.
4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess... well, it would be kind of difficult for online play because I really didn't have the experience with Underground 1 since the PC port was kind of strange and people didn't really play that online, so didn't really get that full experience with online play in that game. But so I probably have to say like Underground 2, even though I don't really like that game at all.
Yeah, but the online you liked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like that's probably the game that I played most online after 3.
Cool. I wouldn't ever thought 4 was one of your favorites. That's awesome. Like, I officially like this guy. Yeah, 4 has always been my favorite.
Yeah, I guess it's something about the setting and sort of what point I was in my life when that game came out. So it sort of stuck with me. Memories.
Yeah. Was that like during high school and stuff, or was that after?
No. I was much younger.
Younger. Okay. I think mine was like middle school, but
yeah.
Cool. I don't know how much you follow the improv community and how many videos you watch and stuff, but do you have favorite players? Maybe like currently, and then when you were playing back in the days?
Well, it's sort of difficult to say. I used to watch a lot of videos, and I still sort of watch the things that's posted in the Discord. So try to keep myself updated, but never really found any favorites. It's more like I find things that people do are interesting, and I notice these interesting things. So, like, I think this will probably be the same answer for a lot of these questions, is that I like when people try to do sort of interesting stuff, like trying to sort of make videos where they sort of try to add some more context to the game or the video that they're making by using the tools that are available. So people making custom skaters or using special trick setups or parks or whatever, just to sort of build something around the content that they're making. I think that's very interesting. So it's difficult for me to sort of say I have a favorite player or anything. That
could you just name like a few that you've liked a little bit more over the course of the years, or is it you just kind of want to just do the general? I mean, and it's not gonna like hurt anyone's feelings if they're not mentioned. Like, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I know. So I think one thing I've noticed, it's like the play style of some people is kind of when they're doing something really different from other people. And one player is Jens, I think, because he's doing some really strange things when he's like turning around. It goes against what you sort of expect. I think that's quite interesting. But that's just something that I've noticed, and that's I don't know.
Cool. Do you do improv yourself? I mean, obviously you're just kind of skating around, but have you ever taken it seriously and tried to like do a video yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'll try to make videos, but hasn't really been anything serious. So I try to sort of learn all the techniques and stuff within the game, but it's difficult to sort of be good at the game and also be able to sort of get work done. It has to be a balance. But yeah, before I used to make videos and that, or try to make videos at least, and then I sort of found a different creative outlet, I guess, with modding.
Right. Yeah. Which obviously that's coming up. So since it's it's hard because most people I've talked to so far, other than you and Quaz, have been, and kind of, I guess there's been like KSK and Base that haven't been around too much lately, but so some of these questions are kind of hard because next question is going to be pertaining videos again. But is there any videos that have stood out to you that you've watched multiple times?
Well, sure, I've watched many videos multiple times, but I've tried to sort of try to find some videos that I remember from back in the day, but I couldn't really find them. But there's always these videos where they sort of not alike. It's not like machinima stuff, but it's more like when they, like I said earlier, like they make some context. So I remember there was this video, I think it was Underground 1 video, and they had sort of made a custom skater that was I don't know, it was Mega Man or some kind of arcade video game character, and they had created some kind of hacky custom tricks. They were just doing this short line, and I was like, wow, this if you imagine it could be a different game, right? So they sort of try to create this illusion, I guess. But I couldn't find that video, and I have no idea who made it. But
I got the Twitch chat pulled up, and it looks like B-Goat's got you covered, so he'll get you a link in Discord here. Yeah, he says he knows something about that video, so cool. Yeah, so you're more of the creative, not necessarily creative in terms of transfers and stuff like this, but other outlets, which I can understand since you're being a dev. It kind of changes your perspective of things probably quite a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, like this video that I'm talking about now is like something I remember from way back, and like now I guess I can appreciate transfers and stuff more. So it's my taste also changes, right? So this can certainly appreciate a good transfer video as well.
Right. Cool. What is your favorite level from? Let's say you can either just pick like one favorite level, or you could break it down by game if you want.
Yeah, it's a difficult question, but I think like School 2, I like that level. Even though it's very basic, but it's something with it. It's like it's very basic, but it still has sort of the building blocks that you see later in the other games, but without all the sort of fluff and all the distractions, I guess. So I think that's sort of a level that I really like to play, because it's just, you can just zone out and just let everything play.
Yeah.
But there's also like, you can look at it like what kind of levels are, you know, have this kind of vibe, like you feel. I mean, if you we've been playing these games for so long, you can sort of imagine being in these places, and there's some levels that are sort of not very nice places, and some are more, I don't know, feels better. So I guess the more vibrant levels, like in Underground 1, or some of the Underground 1 level, Underground 2 levels and Underground 1 levels, basically. It's difficult to pick one.
Yeah, what's your favorite Tony Hawk 4 level?
Carnival, maybe?
Yeah, hence why you're playing it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this level took a long time to grow on me. But eventually I was like, yeah, I could see this level being pretty awesome. It's just got like so many little bugs though that are just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It screws you over pretty quickly, especially on Tony Hawk 4. On this, it's a little more lenient because you have all the stuff you can do to fix yourself. But
yeah, I think I appreciate the vibe in this level more than the sort of design.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite created park?
I don't really remember the names, but I always like this sort of maze levels, or these parks that were more like mini games. It was also always interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And also really appreciated the levels where they use the like stacking and stuff, because it takes a lot of time. So it's kind of strange to see that back in the day, because didn't really know how to do it, and it's like, wow, how can they make these crazy levels? It's magic.
Yeah. Yeah, those take hours and hours, if not days and days to make. Yeah,
exactly.
Cool. So we're gonna get into the dev stuff, but when you're online, which doesn't seem to be too often, do you just enjoy skating around, or do you do like goal attacks or trick attacks or King of the Hill? Is there something like that you do in particular?
Yeah, no, it's more I just like hanging out, really, and just casually playing graffiti or something. But King of the Hill is super fun. It doesn't work on all levels, but it's super fun when you have a good server. So yeah, mostly just like the part of hanging out with all other people. So it's nice.
Well, sweet. Let's get into what most people are here probably to hear from you, because you're a pretty big, important role for what this game is. So I had asked quaz a couple of these questions, but I do want to hear just your confirmation or just your side of it. So, when did the idea of THUGPro come about? And like, were you the first one to think of it?
Well, I don't know. It seems like this idea has always sort of been around. I think it's probably around 2012 when we were starting developing something that would later turn into this mod. But the idea of a mod like this has always sort of been around, and people also started multiple forum threads and like, hey, let's go and make this project, but they never really took off, and I guess we just got lucky. But it started sort of out with me trying to sort of figure out the model formats for like levels and mostly levels and park editor objects actually, because before THUGPro I was working on a different mod for Underground 2. This was sort of a level editor, which for me it was basically just a tool. I was just trying to figure out how this engine worked, and so I was just testing things, but trying to sort of make it into a package that could be used, but never really.
So it was a level editor. Did you design the level editor?
Yeah, so it was a scripting mod. So it's basically like you could move and place objects in the levels. But I realized that it wasn't really that fun because you couldn't actually place things that made the level skatable. It was just you could move and delete things, and you couldn't place rails or anything. So it wasn't really that fun. So I sort of was thinking that, wow, maybe we need to actually bring the park editors objects into the levels, which was a quite big project. But I sort of started investigating the formats for these files to sort of see if it was possible, and I was making some progress there. And then I think I was talking with Quas at that time, and he was sort of saying like, wow, you should bring the Underground 1 levels over or something. And I think he was just joking at first, but I had been looking at those files as well, so I sort of had this rough idea of what had to be done to make that work. So I just basically worked on that for, I don't know, a year or something, and then one day we had School 2 playable, and Venice, I think Venice was the first level that I got to load. First time the game didn't crash. It was super fun.
So how the hell do you figure out how to do those things? Like, did you have modding experience before? Or was it all in this game?
It's like specifically for the file formats and stuff.
I cut out for a second. What did you say?
Do you mean like the file formats and all these things?
Well, yeah, like pretty much just. So you said you had made a level creator, right? Like a level modifier.
No, so I was working on a scripting mod for Underground 2, which was basically a in-game editor, which basically looked like the park editor.
Yeah, but did you design that, or did someone else make that already?
No, I made that.
Yeah. So okay, how like, how did you have the knowledge of how to make that?
Just testing things, really. So I've been modding all the games like Pro Skater 3, 4, and Underground, just trying different things, and you sort of just learn the ins and outs of the engine over time. And the level editor project was basically just me trying to learn and see what kind of things we could make the engine do.
Yeah. So okay,
with the limited access to scripting and stuff.
Before we go into like when THUGPro started being a thing and you were still doing the Thug 2 stuff, like what's the steps to like integrate a menu and then have that menu change things in the game? Like how much time does that take someone to do? And like what's like a couple steps that you would have to do? Obviously you have to like modify game files, but you have to obviously like add stuff into the game files to like add these options and stuff, right?
Yeah, well, it depends on what you want the button to do. So just adding a button to a menu is just copying 2 lines and then recompiling scripts and packaging, and then it's there. So that could be pretty simple, but really depends on what you want the button to do. If you want some like what you want to happen. So there's like this separation layer in the game, which you have this scripting language, which actually has quite a lot of features, and you can do a lot of things with it. But if you want to dig more deep into like the engine and physics and more of these things, then you sort of need to modify the game binary, and we do that through a proxy dynamic linked library. So we basically hook into the process the memory of the process, and then we can communicate with the scripting layer through that. So
got it. So like what programs are all needed to do this type of stuff then to modify the game files and all that stuff, or do you even have to use anything? You just work with what's already there?
Well, you can use different programs. Like you need text editors for writing code. I guess you can use like a hex editor for editing binary files, and so it's a nice tool to have. Obviously, you need a compiler for like taking the source code of what you're writing and then turning it into something that can be executed. So that's sort of what you need for scripting and programming. But for other things like the levels and stuff, then we are basically writing our own tools. So using using text editors and compilers to make your own tools, and then with those tools you can make all the things. So it's sort of the process.
Got it. So before you started doing Thug 2 modding, you never really modded any other games?
Well, I also have worked on a Pro Skater 3 mod, but I don't think it was mostly like changing textures and things like that. But yeah, I think I've basically had a mod for every game, like a private mod, I guess. So like I think every modder had that. They had their own little version of the game where they were testing things. So
cool. So after the Thug 2 modding that you had done, then you started kind of leaning towards what's now known as THUGPro, and you started converting Thug levels over. And you said Venice and School 2 were like the first couple that you transferred over.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think that's the two first.
Yeah. So what else came after that? Did you do like in between those? Did you add anything else? Like, you know, I don't know, any menu options in the game? You know, because like now if you like hit start, you have like all these crazy options that a host has. Did you start adding any of that stuff in the middle
Oh,
of all
yeah.
this, or is it just specifically levels starting off?
I think it's the very first release had a couple of things like some like quality of life changes basically, and I don't actually remember, but you know, Quas talked about this in the podcast. Was he said that he basically told me to add those things because I didn't really think about it, and yeah, and that's true, I guess, because like no one's playing the vanilla PC games. I don't think anyone's ever been playing that actively. They always needed some kind of mod to sort of make it playable, whether it's like drop-down mods or using GraphCore or VMod or whatever. So it wouldn't really make any sense to release a mod without any of these sort of basic things that people had implemented over the years. I guess that's sort of where the idea came from. It's like, okay, we can add levels and we can sort of try to bring the best of other games and other mods, basically.
Got it. So you kind of like gangbanged a couple other mods in there. What else? Like,
Yeah,
do you remember what else was
more inspirational? It's like we knew that sort of people would want these things anyway, so it didn't make any sense to leave it out.
Yeah. Like, do you know when Thug 2 was just Thug 2, were there any serious modders back then that implemented a lot of stuff that's still used now?
Oh yeah. There's been a lot of Thug 2 modders. So, but I don't think we're not using anyone else's stuff directly.
Sure, but you know, like just modified versions of maybe some of their stuff.
No, it's more like we see what they were trying to achieve and sort of trying to break it down into more like game design things. So it's easy to sort of take the Thug 1 scripts or Thug 2 scripts and see the difference and just copy paste over, but you don't really understand what is happening. So that's the approach that we're trying to take. So we sort of try to understand what is happening and what these changes do, and then implement it based on that. So basically adding additional steps, I guess, but that's the way we've always been doing it. So
Yeah. So right now, there's no level editor. Like right now, if I'm skating around and I'm the host or I'm skating offline, I can't like just take out objects and add them in anymore, right? Like that's not a thing.
well, it's actually the level editor is, or the base game that THUGPro is based on is not actually the same branch as the level editor mod. But we have a different version of the level editor in our development build, but that's basically like version 4 or 5 maybe. Like been rewritten so many times now. It's
Got it. So is there a reason that that's not just like in the update, or is it just because it's too quirky or something like that? It's not
yeah,
done enough.
it's just buggy. It's for us. It's just a development tool.
Got it.
I would like to have it sort of work like, I don't know, like in proving grounds where you could place objects and stuff, but it's we can do these things now actually, but it's makes things really unstable. So it's that's really the reason why we haven't released it, because it's unstable and it looks cool if you know what buttons to push and what not to push, because it will break quite easily. So
cool. So what's your current job then in the dev team for this game? Since most of the levels are here, obviously there's still some to come, like the Project 8 levels, and what else is there? Proving Ground levels.
Yeah.
Are those coming?
I don't know. They will require some more work than compared to the other levels. But we sort of figured out the formats for both Proving Ground and Project 8 years ago. But it's not really... I haven't really finished the process, I guess. And also it's since these levels are more connected, it's difficult to get it to work in this game, because I don't think it's realistic to sort of have everything like the open world stuff working without a major overhaul of the engine, which is just going to take so long time.
Yeah, I can imagine, and like their next gen like levels too, so that's gotta be kind of hard too, I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, I think most PCs can handle it. It's more like you have to make some minor tweaks to the rendering pipeline and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't really looked at how the process will work yet, because it will be sort of different than the other games. Because in the other games we basically wrote tools that where you take the levels from one game as an input, and it will output the levels for this game. So it's sort of this one process, and since there are just some minor structural differences between the games, it's sort of a one-to-one conversion. But for the call it next gen games, it was the differences are much bigger, so it's not easy to just do a one-to-one mapping of the file formats. So it will require much more.
Like in specific, like what do you have to do to the files to make them work? I'm just curious.
Well, I think we have to. Well, for example, the lighting in Project 8, it's more dynamic, right? So basically, if you try to import the levels directly, they will just look completely flat because there's no shadows or anything.
Oh, okay.
And now we have like good level editing plugins and stuff. So this process is more manageable, because now we can basically import the levels in Blender and do this editing manually. But back when I sort of was working on this, like writing these converters or trying to understand the format, we didn't have these tools available, so it was sort of a different time. But we haven't really revisited the idea lately, so that's my answer, I guess.
Got it. There is what game is like City Center from?
The one we have here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's from the port of Project 8. That's the Xbox, the original Xbox One version. Oh, original one Xbox version.
Got it. So that one would be a lot easier than the next gen ones. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's basically the same format as American Wasteland.
Right.
Basically no difference.
So do you have is it going to be easy to do the, the previous gen versions of all the Tony Hawk Project 8 levels and stuff?
Well, yes and no. There's always like these small minor things that you had to manually go in and fix. And with the American Wasteland and Project 8 levels, we sort of try to take a different approach where we want to try to automate as much as possible, so we don't have to remember all these steps that we need to do every time if we just want to make a small change. So right now we have a tool chain setup which basically allows us to convert all levels with one click, but there will always be like these minor things that we need to fix, and we're trying to fix as much as possible within the code, like programming fixes, instead of having to manually edit levels later. So that's sort of the new process.
Yeah, just to be able to click once and have everything just like done.
Yeah.
Damn, how far along is that?
I don't know. Some levels are better than others, I guess. But I think we sort of learned that trying to release a bunch of levels at the same time it's just a hassle, because there's so much to sort of keep track of, and so we'll probably just release 1 or 2 levels at a time.
Do you know which level is going to come out next? Or is it too soon to say that? You don't have to say if it's too soon, but I am curious.
I don't know. It's like we're looking at the most requested levels, so we'll always keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, so what's the most requested level? And is there a certain level that you really want in the game, but it's going to be a huge pain in the ass to do?
Well, I don't know. Downtown is one of the more heavily requested levels. Beverly Hills. I mean, I guess most of the American Wasteland levels are heavily requested, but I think these two are one of the top priorities. As for a level that I wish, I'm not sure. I kind of like the next gen versions of Project 8 levels, because they didn't play that well in the original game, but maybe it will be better here. So that's sort of an idea that I like, but I don't know if it will. I don't know when we will be able to get that full experience, but I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I honestly don't even think I played that game, or if I did, or whatever it was just so bad that I didn't know any of those levels until I started playing this. I had never played this level till it was in the update. So
yeah, but also this is different again. It's not like the next gen.
Yeah, it's not the next gen. So the next gen versions are they look a lot better. They're probably bigger, filled with more shit.
Yeah. It's more like things are more evenly spaced. I think this is one thing that you see in almost all the levels that are created by that are not created by Neversoft, which is basically like, for example, this level or the Underground 2 remix levels, or any of them really, and they all have. I think this, like, the spacing between things is always kind of strange. It's either too dense, it's very compact, and the rails are not linking that well together, and I never liked that.
Yeah, it's a damn shame it's so hard to get those. But
yeah, one day maybe.
One day, yeah. We'll see. So what's your priorities right now then?
stability stuff, and levels, I guess. Like,
So like
we need to.
the next couple updates will be more just stability type of patches.
Well, it will be a mix of both, because it's kind of difficult, because stability things are, you don't really notice it if it's done. So it's can be kind of underwhelming if we spend a lot of time working on something, and people don't even notice the difference. But
Yeah,
so
but like what do you mean? Like what won't they notice that you obviously have done?
Yeah, of course they will notice if they're crashing a lot, and are crashing less. But it's if you add like 2 new levels, it will look like much more work than spending hours or weeks debugging some crazy bug. That's difficult to reproduce, and it's these things take time. So, and it might not seem like you're doing much if you end up finding that it's a very simple change, but the way you find it is takes a lot of time. So.
Yeah, but you mentioned these things that are fixed in some sort of patch log, right? You guys post that somewhere?
We try to keep a up-to-date patch or change log. So.
Got it. Where the heck is that at? I know I've seen it before.
Oh, we have it on our webpage, but it's kind of strange. You need to go to the downloads page, and it will show all the change logs under the download links.
Got it.
But I usually post a direct link to the latest changelog whenever we release an update. Usually post it in the announcement threads, and yeah.
And where is this at? What's the website again?
It's mostly on the Discord, really. So I'll try to post it on, I think, all the active ones.
Got it. But it's like I don't know, THPSX has a lot of that stuff, so that's why I was curious.
Yeah. I guess that's the sort of main one for us. We use the announcement channel there to post it, and then people will move it along and post it to other channels and other servers. So,
how often do you spend modding this game versus playing it? Like, do you say you do more modding than you are in the game playing like you are right now?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Like,
so, yeah, so much. Spent so much more time modding than playing recently. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm playing the game all the time, but I'm not really playing it for the same thing, because I'm testing something or checking something out, and it's sort of a different thing. So
yeah, like how often do you think, like, obviously some weeks are different than others, but if you had to put like a rough number on how many hours a week you spend on it, like what would that be?
Well, to be honest, right now it's not a lot at all, but it's in periods, really, and then I can spend like a couple of, could probably spend like 2 days constantly working on something, and then sort of take a break, and it really changes a lot. Like 2 years ago, I was basically working full time on this project, and now I don't have that much time, so I'm not able to spend 12 hours a day working.
Yeah. So what's motivating you to put that much time in? Like, especially back when you were doing basically full time doing the game, because I mean, there's not like a financial incentive for it, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, yeah, I'm not sure. It's I think the motivation has changed a bit. It's like back when I was working on full time, I was it's kind of difficult to put a word on it, but like I was just fine doing this. I was enjoying it, and I saw that people also liked the work that we were doing. So that was a motivation. But like now it's a bit difficult because you sort of have to prioritize and figure out if things are worth spending time on when it comes to like implementing features or finding work or something to work on. Because if you have a limited time to spend on this, then you sort of need to be smart about how you work. So yeah, so it's a bit different. Depends on really the situation. So
do any of the other devs have to like nudge you to do something, or are you the one that takes the initiative? Like who in the dev team is like, we got to release a patch. It's been like however many months. It's usually pretty often, but like who's the one? Yeah. Is there someone pushing you guys?
I think we sort of switch around on that position. I know there was a period where I was like, when we basically hadn't released anything in like 1.5 years, and I was like, wow, we really need to do something now because this is kind of depressing, because sort of working and feeling like we didn't make any progress. And at that point I was kind of nagging people to get work done, but mostly it was me who had to get more work done because I basically had so much in my backlog. So
yeah,
but yeah, it changes a bit, I guess. It's everyone's got different schedules and things and priorities, so it's you have to be kind of loose about it. So
yeah,
I don't think if we had been really strict about it, I don't think we would still be playing here. I probably quit a long time ago.
Yeah, you probably just get burnt out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So how do you decide when a patch should be released as a team? Because like obviously the other guys, they want to try putting something in that patch too. So do you how do you collab that? You must have like I think Quaz was saying you guys have a channel that you talk on. Do you all just decide in that channel that we have enough to release a patch, or who decides that?
Well, yeah, we've been trying a sort of different, sort of different ways to do this, and most recently we basically haven't had that much time, so we're just picking like the things that we had been working on and saying like, okay, we need to get this ready and this ready and this ready, and then the other things we will just push back. So, and before we didn't really have we didn't have a very good way of organizing things, so we would basically be sitting with a version of the game that was it had a lot of changes, but it also had a lot of bugs and stuff. So we wanted to release it to show the new things, but we couldn't because it was sort of unstable and stuff. So we've been trying to be more smart about how we divide adding things, and how so that we can do more iterative updates instead of just adding a bunch of stuff and then working for half a year to just make sure it doesn't break and then release it and it breaks anyways.
So this could be kind of random, probably not the best segue, but one of the guys that worked on it or is working on it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's that person do?
Well, so you know the auto server in THUGPro was, I think that was one of the first scripting features that we added, which is basically taken from Gans. He had a mod for American Wasteland where he had written this auto server, and he allowed us to use this, so he basically implemented that in THUGPro, and so he does a lot of scripting stuff, and also is writing a lot of tools, like tools programming, and also recently, or not recently, he's always been very supportive, but like he's following up like people asking questions and trying to help people who are having problems with crashes and like user feedback stuff. And it seems like he has taken that position, which is really nice because he really knows his stuff.
Yeah, so he's part of the active team right now then?
Oh yeah.
So it's you, Quaz, Gone, and then I know Biohacker had a couple things, and then he's not around.
Yeah.
But then who else? Is that it?
Well, there's been many people who have contributed over the years with different things, advice and content. Like I should have written a list of all these people, but they know who they are, and we really appreciate their work, and I know everyone else does as well.
Yeah. Do you know if there's ever going to be like a log or some sort of wall posting that says this person did this in THUGPro and this person did this, in terms of like everything that's been implemented? Like, is that something you guys would ever do?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that could be a good idea.
Yeah. I thought about that and I was like, that sounds like it'd be pretty cool. Then people could see specifically what each person contributed to.
But it will be really difficult if it depends on how deep you want to go with that.
Right. Yeah, that'd be pretty general.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
But it's like when we're such a small team, everyone's basically had to fill different positions, so it's
right. Especially now, it seems like if it's mainly you guys, it's kind of like, yeah, it's not that many people for, but there hasn't been like too many updates.
It's always been like that, really.
Yeah. So for the most part, it really is you few guys that are doing a bulk of the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to get you guys on here, because I was like, yeah, it seems like they probably do the most, But still, some sort of cool like memorabilia wall of shout outs who did what. But yeah, you say that to be general. So
yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, what's the hardest thing you've done that's been implemented in here?
Yeah, it's so difficult to say, really. I guess it's probably just the whole process with converting levels, I guess. Because when I started with, trying to learn how to, it's kind of technical, but like the concept of a file format, even, it's kind of abstract if you don't know what it is, because it's like, well, it's a file, yes, but file structures and these things, sort of a new domain that I had to learn, and even you don't really know what answers, or you don't know what kind of questions to ask, because you don't know I have no idea what you're looking for, right? So that was kind of a difficult process to just learn the ropes of programming in general, really, because I had to really seriously learn programming to write this conversion process. And
like what did you have to learn for programming?
Like language?
Yeah. Like what languages?
So For the first tools, I used mostly C#, and I had been using Visual Basics before, but that was just like making fake Facebook apps, or not Facebook apps, but like making like these phishing clients for stealing passwords and stuff. So that was kind of shady, but
Oh shit! I don't have to worry about this, do I? One thing we've talked about. I was like, we boot up this game, but are they collecting any data on us? Like some sort of shit running in the background.
No worries. The only thing was when we had the first, or not the first release, but when we the 2013 release, when we had a beta version, we sort of had this sign up where you had to register for beta access, and then you would get a link and you would have to log in to play. And then we had to sort of collect something, but that was not. It was not to steal anything. It was mostly to just to validate that they had registered. But that was just running for I don't know, for a month or something, and didn't really do anything with this. It was just an email address and their player name. But it was interesting to see because we got a lot of traffic, and I remember Chase was saying that during like the first week we had, I don't know, like 500 unique players signing up.
Damn.
And he had like experience with startups and stuff, and he said that, wow, this is if you look at, if this was a startup, this would be crazy. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, it seems pretty good for such a small community.
Yeah.
Do you know what the numbers are like now?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I guess it's possible to get some stats from OpenSpy or something, but that basically means that they had to connect to OpenSpy, and I think there's a lot of players who are playing mainly offline as well, so it's a lot of invisible numbers there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wondered, if there was more offline players than online. I assumed that there was. I think I had asked Quaz this, but yeah, we weren't sure if there's a way to log the downloads,
I mean, we could have, but I haven't really had any interest in doing it. And it's a very touchy theme, so it's just don't want to get into that really.
Yeah. How does the whole server thing work? Because this has to be hosted on a server of some sort. And I know I've asked this before, and I think I've been told like 3 times, but I forget all the fucking time. How does this work? Like, how are we playing this game right now? Who's hosting the server?
Well, there's different servers, I guess. So there's the OpenSpy servers, which are THC are hosting that, or I don't know who owns or how it works, but CHC manages the hosting for TH mods and also our like download server. So
who is this?
CHC.
Okay.
But I think you need to talk with Skate Ace if you need the details about OpenSpy, because I think he managed the hosting there, if I'm not mistaken.
Who would be the one to talk to you about potentially getting more players in the game? Like, instead of 8, can we have like 12?
Well, it's everything is possible, but it's I think if we're going to take the same approach that we have been taking to changes like we've been doing so far, it's probably not going to be. I mean, probably just add more problems. It will just be very buggy. And I mean, if we could just recompile the game from source, it's basically just changing one line of code, and we could have 32 players. So it's not really that big of a change, but if we want to change it the way we are doing it, through sort of modifying the process of the memory process, the game executable, and it will just be so much work for something that will be very unstable, and it's probably not worth it. So,
got it. So it hasn't even been attempted yet, though, right?
well, sort of evaluated. So we've been looking through and seeing like what has to be changed, and sort of trying to map out all the factors. But it's haven't really tried to do it. But I know that you can actually get a sort of playable thing with if you just modify the host, because the host basically limits the number of players. So when we had the dedicated server running, we could have up to 16 players, but you had to do some additional changes on the clients so that you could see the other players, because basically the game does not know how to deal with 8+ players. So
right.
you could have 16 players on the server, but you could only see the 8 first. It was kind of strange, but
So if someone had a dedicated server, do you think you could figure out how to do that, or is that just not going to happen? I think he crashed. Yep, he crashed. That's pretty funny. Hopefully he comes back soon. I'd play some like fancy bumper music, but that ain't gonna happen. I don't have any on standby, so I guess we'll just hang out here. Hopefully he reconnects automatically. Maybe he crashed so we could all go watch that new fun video that came out. I forgot about it till just now. Dude, who is IRL John? Do I know IRL John? He's got a big first next to him. Oh, he's a subscriber. IRL John is the homie. No, I want to know. Obviously, you played the game. I want to know who it is. Oh.
Yo.
Oh, we have life.
What happened?
What happened?
I think you disconnected.
I disconnected. I think you disconnected.
I'm not sure.
I think so.
Oh,
All right, I'm
still-
rejoining. I have proof that it was you.
All right, yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? But we're good. Where the hell were we?
Still live? Or
Yeah, we're still alive. I just been chilling. I was gonna start beatboxing, but I figured they wouldn't want to hear that, so do some like crazy offbeat gent beats.
so where
I mean,
did
basically, we
go?
were at what talked about Gon did. We were talking about your hardest thing was like the level scripts, getting all that stuff figured out. I mean, we pretty much had most of this.
Yeah, but
covered.
it was the 8-player stuff.
Yeah, the 8-player stuff. Yeah. So, okay, I was asking just as you crashed, if someone had a dedicated server, would that be something you could try implementing and it'd be easier, or would you still not just bother with it?
Well, we have a old version of it, which is I think it will require some more work to get it to play with this current client, because we have been making some changes to network recently, so probably won't work without any. Scott disconnect. Yeah, it probably wouldn't work without any additional changes. But yeah, if you run a dedicated server, you can basically allow more players, or it doesn't have to be a dedicated server. Really, it's just that if you modify the host, you can sort of support more players. But it's easier to do it with the dedicated server, because that's a completely separate program. So it's not actually a game running; it's a server.
Right, but you gotta modify it in a way that it's still talking to the game and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
It still sounds like a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, but it was working at some point, and it was quite fun. We had it running for a couple of weekends.
Wow, that'd be pretty cool. Cool.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe I'll try to sort of repurpose it sometime. It's some more interesting things you can do with a dedicated server, I think.
It would be
like
nice
more.
for King of the Hill, especially.
Yeah, sure. Be more fair, I guess.
Yeah, the host advantage is
Yeah.
pretty evident on this game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So outside of this, what else do you do? Do you play any other games?
Yeah. Recently, I've been playing some FPS games. The new Modern Warfare is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people playing that.
Yeah, still some work to be done there, I think, but I'm enjoying it so far. Been playing a lot of Apex Legends. Really like the movement in that game. So
yeah, I love Apex. I think they did awesome, especially for a free to play. I mean, obviously you can pay for the season passes or whatever, but
yeah,
I love how fast it is.
Yeah, it's I really like games where you sort of have control and you can sort of play the way you want without being limited by like input artificial delays or sort of waiting for animations to finish and
Like
stuff.
PUBG is the worst for that shit.
Oh yeah.
I do not have the patience to wait like 5 seconds to pick something off the floor.
Yeah, it's way too slow for me. I like more the sort of arcade arena shooters like Quake and
yeah. Do you play with any other Tony Hawk players on some of these?
No, not really.
No.
I think I used to play with some guys back on Xbox Live, back on the original Modern Warfare. That was a couple of years ago, like 10 years ago. But
Yeah, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, just the plain one.
yeah, and 2.
Yeah, did you use Xfire back in the day?
No, not really. I was never really been like talking guy, like text chat more. So
Yeah. Yeah, where did you say you were from? Yes, I know you weren't from the States.
Norway.
Norway. Ah.
Yeah. Cold north.
Cold, yeah. It's probably just as cold there as it is here.
Yeah, where are you at?
I'm all the way north in the States, so Minnesota.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It's just below Kansas. You can imagine it gets pretty damn cold here.
Yeah.
What is it? It's not cold there year round though, is it? It's pretty fucking cold there though. Yeah.
It's not as bad really. If you go way north, it's worse. But I live sort of central, so it's not too bad.
But you still get the seasons every season, right? Every season you're gonna get snow.
Yeah. I had snow already. So.
Yeah, for sure. Damn. And what about for work? What do you do?
Oh, so, I'm a programmer, so working in a company with doing special measurement equipment for like the energy industry. So, writing software related to that, basically.
Yeah, that kind of works out.
Yeah.
Do you think doing all this modding of this game has helped you out some on that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, especially because I mostly learned programming through this game because I was able to set these goals that I wanted to achieve, and then you had to learn different things related in programming to sort of get these goals done. So it was always like this motivation. So
Right. Damn. Yeah, it worked out pretty slick. That's pretty cool. Anything else for games? What was your favorite game outside of Tony Hawk?
I'm not sure.
I like a favorite. You ever do single player games?
Yeah. I'm kind of fallen off lately because I didn't really get the latest consoles. I kind of skipped the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I only bought the Xbox One to play Red Dead Redemption.
Oh yeah.
So that's basically how late I was. So I sort of missed a lot of these newer story games, but played a lot of games back on the Xbox 360 and original Xbox as well, I guess. But, I've sort of always liked this more sandbox type of games where you can be a bit more creative, but not necessarily like sandboxing in the way that you're building things. It's more like you have a level and have different obstacles in these levels that are sort of the same for every level, and you have all these tools that you can use, and it's up to you to sort of figure out a way to put everything together, and you can play it the way you want. So I would say that that's also sort of a sandbox thing, but I don't know. It's difficult to find a favorite. I like more concepts than specifics, I guess.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was just curious. So, Well, cool. I think that's pretty much what I got. I was going to do some Q&A if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
If anyone in the Twitch wanted to ask something, I can imagine there's stuff I forgot. I'm going to get Quaz back on, and it'd be cool to get you back on just maybe like next year sometime.
Yeah.
Because what happens all the time is I'll either re-listen to this or someone else will listen to it, and they'll be like, "You completely forgot to mention this," and that like one thing I forgot to mention could take like a half hour. So
Yeah. I know.
so let's see if anyone's got anything for you. Questions for Morten. Or is there anything else you wanted to add? Any announcements? Anything we should know about the game?
Well, I don't think I want to announce anything now. It's sort of learned that the hard way to not announce things prematurely, so
Yeah.
avoid that.
Are you excited for the Thug Plus mod coming out again?
So yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, has gotten a release window.
Well, it should be at the end of the year. So we'll see if that actually happens. I know KSK is busy, so.
Yeah. No, I remember like seeing that mod way back when there was only screenshots and stuff, and then it's completely silent for so many years, and then it suddenly was active again. So it was really cool. So yeah, I would love to see a full version of that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
At some point. Some really nice features there. And also, it's like it's difficult to work on a mod if there's only one mod, because then you're like, we have things that we want to do, and we have like this idea of what fits for our mod and what's right, I guess, and it's nice to sort of have this other mod as well, which allows other ideas to be explored, I guess, so it's less of a burden, and we can sort of share the work, I guess, and have best of both instead of having competing with itself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Cool. IRL John, what is the next big thing for Morten? Anything exciting on the horizon?
Next big thing for me.
I guess it could be outside the game as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything to announce on that end. But I guess for like the game in general, I don't know. Like, just want to make things stable and sort of support them custom content creation even more. Getting the remaining levels in. I think that would be a really nice thing, because then you sort of have this completed base game, and then if we make sure that content creators have the tools available and everything works seamlessly in the game, then that's sort of allows us to maybe not focus on other things, but more like we can, I guess, free up some time to explore different ideas also.
Yeah. What about outside the game, though? I mean, is there anything outside the game that you look forward to that's coming up? Or not really? Like, I don't know how exciting your life is. So mine's pretty boring. Yeah. So if that means anything.
Oh, it's always something. I don't know. There's some cool games coming out next year. So Doom and the new Half-Life. Which,
oh yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, I think I need to upgrade my PC again for VR. But
did you like Doom 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was the most badass thing.
Yeah, it's really good.
I even liked
It's pretty,
Doom 3.
yeah, it's a bit different, but yeah, it's still Doom. It's kind of crazy. Like if you go 20 years back and someone told you that the next Doom and Half-Life are going to be released at the same time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, Half-Life's long overdue though.
Yeah, yeah, but that whole thing is kind of yeah. The story about Half-Life is kind of different, I think, because a lot of people are so attached to the story, but I don't think the story or any of the narrative had anything to do with you know, the delay, because Half-Life has always sort of been a tech demo. So.
Yeah. It's definitely. I think they were just slacking, but the new one looks really cool for being a VR game. I'm not a big VR game person, but it looks super fluid and pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, I think that's what they're aiming for. It's basically like it's not Half-Life 3 because the expectations there would be, you know, like full real-time ray tracing and whatever. But like for VR, they have the resources and knowledge to sort of do something really good. So I think that's what they're doing with this new one, is that they're sort of saying like, hey, here is a AAA VR game.
Yes. Yeah, and if anyone's going to do it right, it's going to be them.
Yeah, they've invested so much money and resources into that they sort of had to do it. So it makes sense.
Go fund yourself. Will split screen ever come to THUGPro?
Quas ask me the same thing every once in a while, but I say no, because we've sort of made so many changes over time that basically have neglected the two-player mode. It's so we just make an assumption that it does not exist, and then if we sort of try to enable it, there's so much things that will break because we did not really design any new features or changes around two-player mode. So probably won't be adding that back, even though it will be really awesome. But yeah, sadly, I think the answer is no.
All right. A joke question from Quaz. Will there be goats in any new levels added to THUGPro?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I think you should. I think you should put some more goats in there.
Yeah, I saw they put a goat in the new Call of Duty game. So
yeah, you should make the goat solid though, so you can like wall plant it.
Yeah, like in Proving Grounds, you could do not a spin on the goat, I think.
Wow, that'd be badass. And then like have like a cool sound that comes off. Or like a secret thing opens, like a hole in the level comes open, and then like you can skate under it or something. That'd be so crazy.
Yeah.
not to add work to your plate or anything, but IRL John, any side projects or interests? Kind of covered that, but I don't know. Side projects or interests?
Yeah, I guess I sort of have a lot of side projects or ideas that I revisit every once in a while. It's more difficult now because I sort of don't have as much time as I used to have, so I need to prioritize THUGPro over other side projects. But other than that, I am a music producer, like for a hobby. So
sweet.
Don't release that much, but I create electronic music, different genres, ambient, techno, different things really.
Do you have a SoundCloud or anything for that?
Yeah, I have a couple, but it's I don't update them that often. So
okay, well, I'm just saying if you wanted to say what it was, maybe in the chat around here, it's up to you.
I don't even remember the URL. Basically,
okay.
just the random random numbers or something.
Uh,
You'll find the link if someone's interested. But
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I like techno a lot. Big fan. Well, you might not know because it's kind of random and it's techno, but it's kind of progressive techno in that each song leads seamlessly into the others. Do you know the In Search of Sunrise series by Tiesto?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the type of techno I listen to. So.
Yeah. I listen to more like ambient techno or more dark techno, I guess.
Right.
Depends on the mood, really, or the setting. But,
yeah, for sure. Quartus, I think that's how you say his name, but I could be way off. Update to a dev blog on something. It's censored out. Morten, do something about it.
Yeah. So I think
I don't know what he's talking about. Obviously, you know what he's talking about. What's he talking about?
Yeah, so we have a dev blog on our webpage, and it basically says something's coming soon or something, and has not been updated in 4 years. But no, the story is that I guess when we were sort of starting out doing things, it's more exciting to sort of show work in progress and like posting screenshots of bugs and writing small things. But it seemed like when the project got bigger, all of these glimpses into the development process sort of turned into like expectations, or it got kind of annoying a period, because people were sort of asking why we didn't add this, because it looked like it worked in the video, or it looked like it was fine, and it's always different reasons why something is not being added or why it takes time. So I guess that's why we are not really updating the blog, or trying to not making any promises before we're sure that we can keep them. That's a bit sad, but I've been wanting to write more more recently, but it's more like sort of not like a update, but more like finding a small project or writing about a specific thing in the process. So it's something that sort of can stand on its own and not really be directly related to the game series, I guess. So, but I have not really had time or found anything interesting to write about. So that's it.
That's his answer. Sweet. I missed one, I think. I scrolled up. I got lucky. I caught Sock Puppet Kingdom. What the fuck kind of name is that? What's your plan for the remaining PS1 levels, since they weren't remade by Neversoft?
Yeah, so the idea is to sort of use the Dreamcast versions. And or maybe a mix of the PC version as well. I guess there's minor differences there, but I think that's the more that's the best source for the levels, I think. Now we could have used the levels from Pro Skater 2X, which have sort of been updated, but I personally don't like the look of them, even though they have higher res textures and all of these things. But there's just something that's lost with these versions. So we want to use them Dreamcast ones because they have the same feel. So have the same feel, and no intrusive changes in the geometry or anything, but they also have higher resolution textures, but it's the same textures as the PS1 version. So,
And are these aren't implemented yet, though, right?
no, it's still some work remaining there. It's probably, it will probably happen after American Wasteland levels, I think.
Got it. Another one, go fund yourself. Is there a chance of MTX motor tracks levels for THUGPro with BMX and underground 1 to 2 vehicles?
Well, we've sort of tried this. This was a while ago, but in sort of trying to revisit this idea again. People are asking about the vehicles and all these crazy things all the time, and it's you can see that people actually want these things, but it doesn't really fit into the way the game is set up right now. It's like, you want to play trick attack and then people are driving around. It's just crazy. So sort of need to find a context for these things to be in the game, and that's I think Mike mentioned this on his podcast, that he wanted to sort of make a sandbox mode, which is more a mode or area of the game where we can sort of explore these more crazy and fun ideas that it's always been a part of the game, but it doesn't really fit in, I guess.
Right.
So we had a version of one of the MTX levels working with the driving, and we could sort of have this checkpoint races. We were just testing ideas, but it's nothing serious we're working on. But I think it's a cool idea to explore.
Cool. So it's a possibility. You're going to look into it.
Yeah,
some more, at least.
Priorities, and it's going to be a big chunk of work to get that sort of separate mode to feel right. So it's I don't think it will happen before we sort of feel like we can leave other things behind for a while and focus on this, and we'll see. It's time, basically.
Cool. Another one from IRL John. Will Thaw, Vert Plant, Butt Slap ever come to THUGPro?
Yeah, sure. We're looking into all of these, and you sort of just need to find, like, dig deep into the game code and see why these techniques work and how it's easy to just copy the code and say, wow, it's just the same as in American Wasteland, and that might be true, but you need to sort of understand what's really happening. So we need to look into that more. But we're open to adding basically every technique or feature, or just need to find how it works and figure out how to place in options to toggle it, and how figure out all the different possible conflicts that there can be. But yeah,
that would be something Quaz would probably put in here, right? Since he does more scripting stuff, that'd probably be
yeah, sure. It really depends on how deep in the physics these things are, because some things happen in the engine code, so then you need to sort of dig deep into the assembly language, and that's a bit more work. But some things can be done for scripting as well, and that's true for a lot of these techniques that we know about, really. But I don't know. I haven't looked at this specific technique yet, so I'm not sure exactly why and where it is. If it's just a scripting thing or it's an engine thing. So.
All right. One from Quaz. Other than the remaining Thaw and Tony Hawk 1 to 2 levels or levels in general and expected bug fixes, what is one thing that Morten would like to see in THUGPro's future, be it a feature or ability? And that's actually usually a general question of mine. It's like, if you could add or subtract one thing in THUGPro, what would it be? I usually ask that to everybody, but I didn't think to ask that to you because you're a dev. So, but yes, that's kind of what he's asking: a feature or ability to add in.
Well, have so many ideas, so it's difficult to sort of pick one. I don't know. I kind of like this sandbox idea that I mentioned earlier, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's the right priority right now. But if all the levels are done and all the, if there is no bugs, which is never happen, there's never no bugs. It's always bugs. So. But then I guess it will be adding this sort of area where you can explore more abstract ideas, I guess, where sort of taking the process back home, I guess, because when I was starting modding this game, I was just exploring and trying to figure out how things work, and then it sort of took this role of maintaining and creating this thing that's always stable, and then that basically puts you in a different focus or a different mode. So it'd be nice to sort of try out some new ideas again. But, no specifics.
Cool. I think I'm fucking up this game or this name every time. It's Court something US. Court US. First person camera. When? First person camera. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible, but it's like why? I think there was a cheat code in Pro Skater 3 where you could play like first person mode, but it wasn't playable. It was just. But I think we were kind of exploring this idea that what can we do with all these levels that are basically not levels, like the skate shop and the Cass bedroom, like all of these areas that have been in the game but are not really skateable. And we were sort of thinking like, wow, maybe we can connect them together some way, and then have a mode where you could walk around and explore it. But
yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It's not. I don't think it's worth the time, really. But it would be cool, I think.
So
interesting.
Yeah, I am. Quick, get this next one, so because there's still going to be a few more. 69. Oh, so fine. Some of these names.
Nice.
Any plans to bring back THPS4 Boost Plant as a toggle option? I know I had asked Quaz that, and I don't know whatever came to be. Is there any update on that?
Yeah. We are going to add more options for this later. So we've been doing some work in the back end, I guess, which was implemented in the last update. But basically, we're we're now able to adjust different boost plans based on more factors than we used to be. So now we can check if you're doing a TH4 boost plant or a THUG1 boost plant, or you can check what kind of button setup you're using, and then you can adjust it based on these factors. So yeah, we are planning to make some changes there. So
cool. Another one from Quartz. Ask Morten what he thinks of the screen rips of thaw levels. I guess I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so screen rips is talking about a different method of basically extracting 3D models from games. So I don't think there's anything wrong with using that approach. It's just, we have a different approach to converting levels because we just work on the raw files directly and just write programs that sort of output the final result. So it's a completely different process. So there's nothing wrong with the screen rip levels at all. It's probably requires more creative work to get that to a sort of presentable level. So it's just a different approach with different challenges, I guess. So, but if people are making levels or porting levels, that's good. It doesn't really matter what kind of methods they are using. It's as long as people are making content, and that's a positive thing. So
cool. Another one, Socket Puppet Kingdom. Will levels from Gun be added to THUGPro? You ever play that game?
Oh yeah. That was actually a pretty good game.
Yeah. You ever rip a gun level into THUGPro?
Yep. I've also been driving around with the buggy from THUG1. So,
oh wow! All right.
I think I have a video of that. It's on my YouTube channel, I think.
Maybe is it part of a map pack or something? Did you release it?
No. This is way back. So
okay.
Gun is also running on the same engine as American Wasteland.
Oh wow.
Or it's very similar, at least the file formats and stuff. So yeah, we have converted some levels just for fun, but like in a skating context, they don't fit. But for a sandbox mode, then sure, it will be fun to explore these kind of environments, I guess.
We got one from Go Fund Yourself again. Any chance of the TH4 PEDs being added to Skater Select along with Thaw, THP8, THPG, etc. PEDs, and then the missing Underground 1 PEDs?
Well, I think the priority is to get the pro skaters first. And also there are some technical limitations or can cause some issues if you just make everything skatable. Like if you make every single model a skatable character, it can cause some problems. We sort of want to be a bit careful about doing that. So that's why we sort of want to have the different pro skaters and different skins first, and then we can sort of expand into more crazy stuff later. Yeah.
Got it. Let's do this one, Quinn by Court. Will sim mode ever be back?
sim mode.
Sim mode. Yeah, I think it's a cheat. It is a cheat that you can put in. I think it's in there. I could be wrong, but I thought it was in the cheat menu.
Yeah. No, I don't think it works anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. It could be interesting, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think like after Skate and all these more realistic games have been released, it's I guess the expectations are a bit different. So, I mean, just changing the speed and the jump height is not really going to make things more realistic. It's just slower, I guess. But I don't know. I think you can do a lot of that through scripting. So it's anyone can really try to investigate that.
Cool. That was the last one, unless someone quick plugs one in. I think we're at about 2 hours, so it's about. I don't know how long were you expecting, but it's about right.
Yeah.
See if something else pops up, and then if not, we'll cut her there. I think someone told me how to raid, so I'm gonna try doing that this time.
Okay, who are we raiding?
I don't know how to do it for sure, but if this guy's still streaming, he is. Okay. I'll probably fail miserably at this, but I supposedly I can just type in /raid and then a person's name.
No idea.
No idea. We'll find out, but cool. I'm going to do that. And again, I appreciate you doing this. It was a hell of a lot of fun. And you know, we all appreciate the work. We know it's not the easiest thing to do. So, yeah, no, we all thank you. I can speak for everyone. We appreciate all the work that you put into this.
Yes, thanks. And also thanks for doing this podcast. I think it's interesting to see sort of people diving into the history and the people of the community. It's kind of fast.
Yeah, it's been nice. It seems to help out some, at least as a community level. But it's nothing like what you're doing. So,
well, it's more about, I guess, preserving things, because like some of the first episodes were talking about things that we heard about or like vaguely remember reading on forums and stuff, and then it's nice to sort of have this recorded and brought into the light again. I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah, and I plan on hopefully keeping it going for a while yet. So unless I die or something. But cool. I'm gonna send this raid over, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out.